Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are so excited to have you with us for another amazing week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside my beautiful and amazing wife and co-host.
Hey guys, welcome again to the Speak Life podcast. This is your co-host, the one and only Shika. We are so excited that you're here with us today. Welcome.
Yes, so shout out to all of our listeners, all of our subscribers, all of those who rock with us week after week. We couldn't do this without y'all. So we just want to, shout y'all out, appreciate y'all. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment to be a part of the conversation. We want you to be a part of this. We want you to be down. So make sure you comment, For those of you who haven't gotten our book yet, you remember this beautiful, amazing masterpiece?
When Three Roads Collide, yes.
When Three Roads Collide by me and this beautiful young lady over here. We are on our second print of this book. You want to make sure you go and get it. I promise you get this book. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. So if you want the autographed copy, feel free to go on threeroadscollide.com/about and put in for your copy.
Yes, all the information is right there. So
everything we're doing is on there. Threeroadscollide.com. You can find out everything that we're getting into.
Yeah.
Now this week, it's me and you again. Once again, it's like I swear, it's like it's like we just be. Sometimes we're together, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we got company, sometimes we don't. But it's me and you again this week.
Yes, exciting.
Yeah, it's always a fun time when I have you with me. I know it's always going to be a good conversation. But I'm really excited about this conversation that we have this week because I think it is a topic that is very important. And this week we are going to talk about perception. Now, when I say perception, some people probably like, Phoenix, what you mean perception? What are you talking about? So when I'm talking about perception, I'm talking about how you perceive or look at the world, how you look at yourself, how you look at people in the world around you. That's what I'm talking about when we talk about perception. So I want to start off the conversation with this thought of how important is perception. In your opinion, how important is perception?
So I think perception is very important because how do I want people to look at me? When people look at me, what do I want them to think? What do I want them to say? Not that you can control what people think about you or people say about you because they're gonna have their own perception about you.
That is true.
But when people how I carry myself. What are people going to think about me? And what's my perception of myself? What do I think about me? Because that's very important. So, that's what comes to mind when I think about that.
I remember I was having this conversation with someone. I can't remember who it is, but, if it was with you, if you're listening to this and it was with you, be like, we was having that conversation because everything becomes a blur after a while. But we were talking about this and they said, we all have these pictures of how we see ourselves. And a lot of people, you can link perception with self-esteem also. It's very similar, but we have these pictures of how we see ourselves. And they said, you know what? The only one who holds that perception of you like you do is you. Because everyone else, when they see you, they're going to have different things that they think about you. They're going to take, some things that you may be trying to project, some things that you may trying to hide, and they form their own opinion and their own picture of you. So it's like we have these different, pictures in the ways that we see ourselves. When we look in the mirror, we see ourselves a certain way. But we're the only one who see us that way.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think about. And I feel like perception, in my opinion, is super important because in most cases, perception, or at least people's perception, shapes their reality. How we see ourselves shapes our reality. How we view the world shapes our reality of the world. How we view people shapes, our reality of how people are. So that's kind of crazy to think about, and it's such a powerful thing. Yeah. And I think about, like, when it comes to some of the dangers of negative perception, because you can have a positive perception, you can have a negative perception, you can be optimistic and really have a positive outlook out in the world. You hear people say, you're like, the glass is half full. That's optimistic. You're optimistic about things. Things could be going bad and you still find that silver lining on that dark gray rain cloud. God bless all the optimistic people. I like to try to be optimistic.
Me too.
I like to try to look for the good in things.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really great way to tackle the world, because sometimes this world can be very unhappy and not very pleasant, So trying to keep that positive outlook really does make things a lot easier. But when you have a negative perception of the world, when the only lens you are looking out of is one of negativity,
it's hard.
That is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
That is a dangerous thing, because I feel like when we just look for the negative in things,
all we see is negative.
Not only that, it's like what we see will be negative, but then what we get, the things that we get become negative too, and that's a scary thought to think about, that I can shape my reality to negativity. Mm-hmm. That's you ever been around someone and it's like, it doesn't matter what, it's like they have nothing good to say? Debbie Downers. That's what I call those
like
ones.
They're just so, you're like, oh my gosh, like you feel sorry, because you're like, no, life cannot be that bad. Like you have to find something good to say.
And the thing about it is, if you've ever been around someone who's negative and someone who's down, like, their presence can literally ruin your whole mood,
your whole day, everything. Yeah.
And it does. And the thing about it is, it doesn't even take a lot. It could be like something small, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, why did I even talk to you?
Yeah. It's sad. It's a sad state to be in.
And that's dangerous. That negative perception. That negative perception is dangerous. I think, and one of the craziest stories I think about is in the Bible. Moses sent the spies. This is one of the craziest stories when it comes to perception for me. It's like when Moses sent the spies to spy out the promised land, and they were there, mind you, they already knew. They had the assurance. God was like, I'm going to bring you to this land flowing in milk and honey. It's going to be beautiful. You watch, you go. Moses is like, go spy out the land. He's like, and see what it's like. And see what it's like. So they go into the promised land. They're there 40 days and 40 nights. They brought back, the cluster of grapes. The thing that I think about, I'm like, the cluster of grapes that they got, both of them carrying on a pike between them because it's so big. And then they get back, and then Moses is like, all right, tell us what the promised land is like. What it like? And they're like, oh my gosh, it was so nice. It is how they said, it's flowing with milk and honey. Look, these are some of the grapes that we bought there. He's like, what about the inhabitants in the land? And it was like, listen, there's giants in the land. There's like, there's giants in the land. But that wasn't the part that got me. There was like, when we seen the giants, we were like grasshoppers in our sight. Mm-hmm. And in theirs. So their whole perception just caused them to just cancel out everything that God had said that they would be able to accomplish. And you still had Caleb and Joshua that was like, nah, don't worry about that. We can take them. But they was like, listen. We were like grasshoppers in our sight. And as they were in their sight, so they were in the people of the land. And I think about that. And like you said, how we perceive ourselves and how we want people to perceive ourselves is very important.
It is. It is.
And we talked about self-esteem a little in an earlier episode, but I said earlier that perception is reality, and this is a big thing, because if you don't see yourself as much, if you don't see yourself as
People
having,
are not gonna see you as anything, because they could see right through that.
mm-hmm.
They could see right through what you're seeing or what you're accepting for yourself.
And I look at that and I'm like, you have some people who don't realize how valuable they are. And that and it's all about this perception. How we see ourselves, how we like think about ourselves really shapes the things that we'll do, shapes the things that we'll accept. And I think that's a big piece. It shapes, the things that we'll aspire to. And I think it's really so underrated how important it is to have a positive perception of yourself.
Yeah. And it's, this remind me of this book that I had to read for class. It's called The Four Agreements. And what I take away from that book, there's a lot more, but this is one of the things that I took away from reading that book, is that the agreement part, like the agreement you allow yourself to make with other people. And I'm gonna break that down a little.
Break it down, because I didn't read the book. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not in that class. Right?
And it was an eye opener for me, because it's like, for so long you talk about self-esteem and how we allow people to see us, or what we accept from people. And this really break it down to the point where it's like, from I was a little girl, from you're a little boy, the things that you accept from not just your parents, but your siblings, your family, friends, whatever, until you become a grown person. And some of the things that we accept from even people as close to us as our family or parents are like, some of the things are not good. Like, you could have a family member say to you, like, oh, you know what? You're not going to come out to anything good. Or, you know what? You're dumb. Or, why you so, like, just something. It could be anything negative. And you hold on to that for life. You hold on to it to the point where it's like you believe what they're saying about you. Oh, you will never come out to anything good. So you carry your whole life. You walk in that way to say, okay, this person told me this from I was a young person. I will never come out to anything good. From I was a toddler. From I was like the age of 6. And you believe it. You remember it. And you believe it. And you carry yourself that you tell yourself, I will never come out to anything good, because my mother said that, because my father said that, because my aunt, uncle, whoever it is that's close to you said that. So now you come in agreement with what that person said to you, and you believe it, and now it defines who you are. And you cannot come out of that, because this is who I am. I'm dumb. I will never be anything good in life. There's nothing good out there for me. I will never get married. There's a lot of people talking about, I will never get married because that one said I will never get married. Oh, I will never have kids because that one said I will never have kids. Oh, I'll be an addict, or I'll be whatever, just like this one or that one. And you hold on to those things and you believe it. So now it's like, oh, this is who I am. So whenever people see you, it's like, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, no, really? No, I'm not. You cannot believe anything positive that anyone said to you, because for so long people tell you how ugly you are, and you believe that, oh, I'm not beautiful, I'm not attractive. So it's like what are the agreements are we holding on to? And for me, when I read that book, I was like, oh my gosh, like what? And it's not too late. Even if you're an adult, it's not too late to break some of those agreements, to say, you know what, this is not who I am. This does not define me. Like, I'm better than this. I'm bigger than this. Oh, I could accomplish anything I put my mind to. But for so long, it's like people don't really understand and really know that when you come in agreements with something that someone said negative about you, it defines you. It becomes who you are. and you can't get past that. And then that's when the self-esteem, that's when the mental issue, that's when a whole bunch of issues comes in, because it's like you're holding on to all these different agreements that was made out of not by choice, but by you hearing it for so much. Like everyone keep telling you the same thing, and now you believe it because you hear it so much.
It's crazy because, we say week after week, death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that the words that we hold on to carry power. It's like the things that we let come out of our mouths carry power. We were shaped, formed, created in God's image. And when God was creating the world, he said, listen, let there be. And it was. He didn't. The only thing that God put his hands to when he was coming to creation was us.
Yeah, to make man.
That's it. Everything else, he was like, let there be, and it was. Let there be, and it was. Let there be, and it was. And we don't realize sometimes that the power that really comes, from the words that we speak. And when people internalize those, like when, like you said, they come into that agreement with it, they internalize those things, they start to see it, come into pass, and they're wondering, like, why is it that, people have said, this is what my life is going to turn out to, and now it is. And it's like the things that we believe, and that is a dangerous thing about faith.
Yeah.
Because it's like when we believe things, when we set our mind on things, our faith is very, very powerful. And even believing something negative can cause problems. Mm-hmm. It can really cause problems. It can
ruin your life.
And it can cause things to come to pass that you don't necessarily want to. But it's like, you holding on to those things, and you saying, you know what? This is what it is. And then repeating it. Mm-hmm. You are repeating it. You're speaking that back into existence. You're causing that to be manifested. And then you're surprised when it gets manifested. It's like, I refuse negative words. I've come to the point in my life where I just don't accept anything and everything that everyone says. No. And I like how you said, even if you're older, you don't have to accept those things. You don't have to keep those agreements.
No, you can break them.
You can break those, and it gets to the point where it's like, all right, well, what do I want my life to come out to? What do I believe about myself? What is it how do I perceive myself? Because you can come from a really messed up situation and still have a pretty good self-esteem and a pretty good perception of the world. It's not that it may not be hard, but when you realize, and I always say, when you realize who you are and whose you are, at least for me, that helps me. Yeah, that really does help me to be able to look at things a lot different than most.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who've known me, for a while, they know how my attitude towards a lot of things have changed, because I can honestly say I had a very, very negative perception, coming up about the world, about people, about a lot of things. And one of the things that I know that helped me to change that was when I got saved, and when I, really started building my relationship with God. And that was something that was huge for me. It literally changed like how I looked at things. It's like even some of the worst situations, it's like the outlook, the outlook that I had on them, it was a lot different from what it would have been, before, I found God, and before, I got saved. And that kind of brings us into this next thought that we really want to talk about. Are there things that we can do to change our perception?
There definitely. Like I kind of touch it a little bit. Like you got to break it. You got to realize that the things that was said to you, the things that was said about you, that it's someone else's perception. It's someone else's opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to accept it. So if you find yourself accepting like what the things that people say about you, then it's time to really think back and think about yourself. Like, who are you? Who am I? Am I who that person just said I am? No. And you could say, like, I always tell the people, like, you know what? Right back to you. Like, whatever you say to me, back to you. And sometimes you don't have to speak it, because I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not gonna just, like I used to be, but God is good.
Jesus saves. Well.
God is good. That's all I'm gonna say. So a lot of people may look at me, and I may not verbalize and say a lot of things, because people may say certain things to me, but in my mind, I'm speaking and I'm rebuking the things that you're saying out of your mouth. I may not, I don't have to come out and say, you know what, I rebuke you. I don't have to do that. But in my head, I'm looking, I'm like, And in my head, I'm rebuking. Oh, if you could even, I am rebuking those words out of your mouth, because I'm not accepting them.
I think that's important. I really do, because sometimes people will speak things that they wish for your life.
Yeah, you don't have to go.
Sometimes people will speak some things that they wish for your life, especially when you have potential. You don't even have to be looking for issues with people.
It will find you.
It's like God can have a call on your life, and people will just not like you.
Yeah.
Boy,
you know what? That's a whole nother episode. Because when you reach a certain, honestly, I've come to realize, and through God allowing people to say things to me, I've come to really honestly believe and know that, and even going by what the Bible says, you may not see the call that God has in your life, but God will allow even the devil. The devil will see it, and he will try to stop it. And God will allow people to see this calling that you have in your life. And then those people will in turn just start having problems with you for no reason. You're like, what did I do? But guess what?
No reason.
You don't have to worry, because at the end of the day, it's like they're seeing the call that God has on your life. They're seeing the places that God want to take you. And it's okay, because guess what? It allows you to be humble, and it keeps you on your knees. It keeps you praying, because you can't do it by yourself. So I feel like we strayed. I don't remember what we talked about.
This is good. This is good, especially this piece right here where you say, sometimes when people will see a purpose, it'll cause them to cause problems,
issues that you don't even know of.
And this is one thing that I always try to leave with people, and this is important. So if you don't listen to anything else I'm saying today, please listen to this. Please listen to this. I have this firm belief that God has a unique purpose for everyone.
Oh yeah.
And the only person that can fulfill that purpose is that person.
Yeah.
Like God has a purpose for me. Only one that can fulfill that purpose is me. God has a purpose for you. You're the only one that can fulfill that purpose. Like, anyone listen to this right now. If you have never heard this from anyone else, I'm gonna tell you the secret right here. God has a purpose. You are so important to God that God has a purpose for you that only you can fulfill. And it is so very important. And this is where I think people get it confused, especially when it comes to church. And this is, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it, and I stand by this. And if you have a problem with it, then that is too bad. Especially when it comes to church, we tend to think that some giftings are more important than other giftings.
Oh yeah.
Like, if I can't preach, then it's not good. Or if I can't sing, then if God didn't give me that gift of singing, then that's not it. That my gifting is not important. But if God gave me the gift to serve, the talent to be able to serve and to serve well, the talent of the gifting of administration. We think that these giftings are somehow less important than the other giftings, But when we realize that God has purpose inside of us, then for me, it would cause me to look at my life a little different.
And look at other people's, the things that their gift, to look at it differently. You don't have to envy, or you don't have to wonder oh God, you give this one, what happened to me? This, you just have to find it.
Yeah.
There's something special for all of us.
And the reason I say that, I feel like that changes perspective. When you realize that God has something, amazing that he placed inside of you. You know, the word says we are fearfully and wonderfully
made. Yeah.
God took time on us, and just that fact alone, that, you know, he looks at us as something special, you know, is enough to cause us to think like, you know what, I must be pretty important if God took time to create me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of people who are not here. There's a lot of people that, you know, there's a lot of individuals that that people would wish that God was still allowed to be here. And the fact that you're still here, the fact that you still have breath in your lungs and you're able to continue going on, that means there's something very, very special about you. And not to say that, you know, the people who are not here or the people who have passed on are any less important, but the fact that you're still here, that means you still have something that you need to fulfill.
Yeah.
That means you still have something that you need to do. That means God still has something in store for you to do before you're able to leave this place. And when you look at it like that, I think it helps to look at things a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's just for me. That's my opinion.
No, I agree.
I'm no expert.
I agree. It's very important to know that, like, you're special in your own way. You don't have to be like someone else. But you're special just being you. And it took a while. Like, I didn't honestly, I didn't think like this for a while. You know, and it took God allowing me to go through certain situation for me to get to this point, to believe that, you know what, Sheikah, stop telling yourself that you're this. Stop. Like, it's like you're speaking things over yourself. And then you're like, but God, I don't want to be like this. And you're wondering, why am I like this? Why do I feel this way? But yet, every chance you get, you're saying, this is who I am. This is me. And then because of the agreement that someone had said, because of whatever someone had said about you before, you come in agreement with that. So you hold on to that. And now it defines you. Now that's who you are. And now you believe it. And you wonder why things are not happening for you.
It's really crazy because that power of agreement is a biblical concept.
Yeah.
And people don't like when you said that, it didn't even click to me to just, I'm like, hold up, this is a biblical concept. It's like, if any two of you agree on anything, touching anything.
Yep.
Touching anything.
So if someone, like, if you're anybody, your parent, anybody said something about you, and then you're like, yes, you come in agreement with it, it's over.
And that's biblical.
It's over.
It is biblical.
Yeah. So you have to, like, but it doesn't matter what it is. And you know, it's crazy because it could be your boss. They could say, oh, you know what? You're not good at this. And then you could take that.
It's like, oh no, I'm not good at this. And
yeah.
then you're like,
oh, I need to find a different career, a
this.
different job. Like, no, this is your calling. This is what you went to school for. This is what you want to do. So therefore, like, don't let anybody defines who you are. Do not come in agreement with anything that...
Power of agreement.
Yeah, don't agree with things that you don't think that's true about you, because you're only setting up yourself for failure.
And it's true. It's like the things that we internalize, oh my goodness. Those internal battles are worse than the ones on the outside.
Yeah.
Because you can get away from people, but you can't get away from yourself.
No.
You can't get away from yourself. So it's like when we think those things and then we start replaying them in our head, and it's just like the broken record. It's just repeating.
And it's dragging you deeper
and we holding on to it.
What you're
and we
in.
just get deeper in the rabbit hole, and and then we wonder, like, why is everything going wrong? Why can't I put myself out of this? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? It's like, it's because we literally came into agreement with someone, and
yeah, and then that's who you are now, and you can't get a break. But you know, you just have to learn how to, like, break. Like, it's not too late. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 100 years old. It's not too late to break some of these agreements.
And this really goes into where we wanted to just, you know, drop the piece about what we can give people. What would you tell someone struggling with, dealing with negative perceptions, negative, things that they've internalized, things that they've agreed upon, things that they, believe to be true, whether it is or not, whether, they've heard negativity spoken over their lives and they've accepted it. And, what can we leave people with, or what advice can we give, some people who may be struggling with this?
So the first thing that I would say, because I've done this, go get a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a notebook. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, a pencil, crayon, marker, whatever.
Writing
something
utensil,
to
something to write on.
Write
Okay. I hope y'all
down.
are taking notes. Please be taking notes on this.
Write down all the positive things that you see in yourself. Write down every good things that you see in yourself. And write down every good things that you have ever done for someone else, or even for yourself. Write that down. And you have a negative perception already, so we're not going to think about anything negative.
No, we ain't writing down nothing negative.
You're
Don't
writing
write down anything negative.
And try to get at least, I'm going to say at least 10 things that you can find positive about yourself, and start with that. And when you write that down, go back and read it. Not just, okay, I write it, I'm done, or whatever. Go back and look over those things that you write down about yourself. And you're not focusing on anything negative that anybody ever had said to you, anything that anyone ever done to you. You're just focusing on the positive things that you see within yourself. It doesn't have to be nothing that nobody tell you that, oh, you're so awesome. No, what you see in yourself. Nothing that anyone ever tell you, but something that you look.
I am handsome.
Into the mirror,
amazing.
Whatever you see about yourself, the different attributes that you have within you. Write it down and focus on that. And every time you feel sad, or you feel like you're going to draw back to those negative things that people ever say about you, go back and look at those things that you write down. And if you're a Christian, pray over those things. And talk to God, and break some of those things. Say, you know what, rebuke, break. I'm not agreeing with these things anymore. I am not agreeing with this thing, what people say about me. Oh, I'm not going to agree with you that I'm never going to come out to anything good. I'm not going to agree with you that I'm going to be a teen mom. I'm not, break those things. And and there's something about when you speak. So not just think it, but speak it.
Speak it.
Speak it out loud.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Speak that.
So I think that would be one of the number one thing that I would really, because I know I've done it, and it works wonders. Like I've prayed, I've cried, I've talked to God, God, this is not who I am. And you have to be. If you cannot be honest with yourself, I don't know who you can be honest with.
That's true.
You got to be honest with yourself.
Worst person you can lie to is yourself.
And just do that. And if you're not a Christian, writing things down, that will still work for you.
Still help you.
And
it still help you.
And like I said, you don't have to go crazy and trying to go crazy or Jackie Chan on anybody if they say something bad about you. But in your head, you could
I refuse it.
Refuse. It's very simple. You could refuse it. You could say, you know what? Okay, in your head, you're talking to yourself in your head. Someone's saying something to you. In your head, you're rebuking them. In your head, you're saying, I don't agree with you. Nope, that does not. I'm not accepting those words. You got to speak it. You don't have to come out and just confront the person and be like, who you think you are? You don't have to do all that. There's no need for that.
And I know it'd be tempting because sometimes in the moment you be wanting to hit them with the 2-piece and the biscuit.
Yeah, but you don't need to.
You ain't got to do that.
To. There's something
we too grown for that.
There's something about when you just be humble. When people are hot-headed and they want to just jump and argue and stuff, you just simply be cool and you just look and listen. And guess what? they're the one looking like a idiot. Like, you're not doing nothing. You're just sitting there. But in your head, you're like, I rebuke everything you're saying. I don't agree with you. With a smile on your, if you're anything like me, with a smile on your face, I rebuke.
You know what they say? You know, you're not supposed to argue with fools because from a distance, no one knows who's who.
Yeah.
You know, so with that piece, I want to add on to that with just, you know, positive confessions. Positive confessions. And Bishop, like, one of the things that I will say about Bishop, he had in his
Our
books.
Bishop, yeah.
He in his books.
Danny Chapakwa.
Yes. Bishop Danny. Yeah. Inside of his books, he always has a section, especially the last one, you know, the open heavens. He has a section where it's just positive confessions. It's like, you know, it'll say something like, you know, I'm God's workmanship. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm a royal priesthood, a holy nation. You know, I'm God's chosen. You know, when you have these positive confessions, that helps to counteract the negative things that you have internalized. And if you're not a Christian and you don't, you know, believe in the Bible and you don't know where you can go online and just find affirmations.
Daily affirmation.
Daily affirmations that you can speak that will keep your mind positive. Like, you have to speak positive things, because at the end of the day, this isn't first and foremost, this is not an overnight process.
No.
It's not today. It's not today I'm thinking negative about the world and I hate everything around me, and then tomorrow everything's going to be peace and peachy. No.
It's going to be a lifestyle.
This is a process, and you have to work it and, you know, make it a habit, you know. So when those times come and you're feeling down and you're like, oh my gosh, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, you know what, I can never do anything right.
Nope.
That's when you start thinking about those positive things, and you start thinking, you know what, this is just a setback, but, you know, it's not the end.
It's
know,
not the end.
This is a minor, you know, fall, but it's not failure, you know. And it's just a matter of really having, and this is the teacher talk coming out. You got to have that growth mindset.
Yeah, that growth mindset. But you know what? And I think that just came to me is that I just lost it.
Bring it back.
Keep talking.
All right, yeah. So it's like that you can't be fixed in the things that you internalize, but you really do have to practice this. It's kind of like, you know, that lifestyle that you have to practice. You practice speaking positive. You practice thinking positive things about yourself. You practice highlighting, you know, the good qualities about yourself and the things where you in the places that you want to see yourself. So even if you don't feel it today, it's like, you know what, God, I want to think positive. I want to speak positive over my life. I want to have a good outlook on the world. I want my perception to be positive. You know, I want to be optimistic about the future. You speak those things and you keep speaking them and you speak them, you know, and you keep doing it until you believe it. And you really, sometimes you really got to talk yourself out of negativity.
You do.
And and what, like, because there's times where you'll be feeling away and you literally have to you got to talk some sense into yourself. You know how people used to say, you know, you better talk some sense into your bands. You need to talk some sense into yourself sometimes. You got to be like, sometimes you just got, Kenny, man, you can do this. You know, this isn't the end. You know, it may be bad right now, but it's going to get better. You have to talk yourself into some positive moments sometimes.
Yeah. And what I was going to say, I think what helped me a lot is to listen. Like, I listen to a lot of different preaching because, you know, that's what I do, but it may look different for everybody else.
That's
you know?
true.
So for me, I listen to a lot of different preaching. I try to always find things where, like, word of affirmation, as far as daily affirmation, like my devotional. I try to find stuff that I know is gonna help me have a growth mindset where I'm not going to just always sit. You got to get tired. Like, you got to find that time where you're like, you know what? I am tired of thinking like this. I am tired of telling myself this. You have to get tired of it. And you
sick
literally,
and tired of being sick and tired.
And you have to, like, you know, tell yourself, like, you're going to get up, you're going to stop it. Like, get up and act like you're trying to talk some sense into somebody else.
You gotta talk some sense into yourself. You literally gotta talk some sense into yourself.
And that helped me a lot. And sometimes after not thinking about it, but in the moment, you're like, am I really doing this right now? Am I crazy? Like, let me see let me make sure nobody's listening or whatever. Like, but you know what though? Whatever it takes, Like, I'm at work. And this happened to me. I'm at work and I was helping a student, but then someone had said something to me and a thought came into my head, and I didn't even realize I was like saying stuff, but I literally was praying, and I was like, I was like, Sheikah, it's not going to get to you. It's not going to get to you. Nope. You're not going to let it get to you. And one of the students was like, looked up at me like, I'm like, keep working. I'm like, keep working. So like sometimes you just have to talk to yourself.
No, you do have
you
to.
Really
you be
do.
having to talk to yourself. You be having to talk
and if
to
you're going to
yourself
work and it's like, your job is stressful or whatever, in the morning, like I'm in the parking lot and I put on some music and I turn it up, and everyone is coming in because they're coming into work and they're driving in, and I'm praising and I'm talking to God and I'm worshiping, because I gotta really get my mind set up to help me
get yourself
for
ready
the rest of the day. But if you're not a Christian, daily
affirmations.
Daily affirmations.
Affirmations.
They have cards. Like I bought some cards for my kids. They have cards. You could carry it around with you wherever you go. And every so often, you just pull one out, look at it, read it. You got to keep your mind in a place where you just need it to stay.
And that's true.
And people will come and try to knock all that out the way.
Oh my
But
gosh.
you cannot let them. Oh gosh.
Protect your peace.
Protect your peace.
Protect your peace at all costs.
Protect your peace.
At all costs.
And it's not, listen, and I don't want nobody getting mad at me, but my phone, I know some people, their phone is their everything. But my phone, honestly, used to be like my everything. But I've come to realize that the phone is one of the biggest distraction. And not only that, but the phone sometimes could just make you get so angry because
disrupting your peace.
Because you got to be careful. Some
true.
calls you don't need to take. Some text messages you don't need to respond to. Some text messages you don't need to respond to right there in the moment. You need to wait, go back and look at it, make sure you're calm, and then respond to that text message. But my phone has become the least important things in my life, to the point where there's times I don't even know, like, where's my phone? I don't know. Like, I come home, I'm like, okay, put my phone away. Like, I won't pick back my phone up to look at it until I'm going to bed, but some people can't do without their phone. But my phone has become one of the least important things in my life.
And I think with that piece is understanding some of like the triggers. Because there's certain things that can trigger you, like trigger things to just spring up in your mind and spring negativity over you.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain people you just can't be around because they're just gonna rain on your parade. There's certain like places you can't go because it's gonna change how you feel about things. It's gonna change your whole mood. There's certain social media sites that you can't go on because when you go on there and you see some of the people that you following, it's gonna cause you to feel a certain way. You have to recognize your triggers and really like stop that from causing your mind to get a certain place.
And and I know we need to wrap up, but like one of the things too, and I think that's what I wanted to say before, you could be good today and you're like, yes, I'm good because,
it's great.
Everything that I'm saying is something that I've experienced. So you're good today and you're like, you know what? Yes, my mind is right. I'm not going to let no negativity, nothing is going to hinder me. Nothing is going to stop me. And then boom.
Tomorrow or same day?
It could be same day or tomorrow. Like, no, seriously. And then something happened and you're like.
It's like a roller coaster.
And you
ride
literally
sometimes.
have to speak to yourself. Okay, remember what you said. Not going to let it get to you. Not gonna let it get to you. If it's a text message, you know what? I can't respond to this message now. I gotta wait out a day or two. You're not ignoring the person.
You good. I just leave them on red.
You're not ignoring the person. No, I check it. You're not ignoring the person, but you cannot let your mind get there. So you got to wait a day, a few days, a week, whatever it takes for you. Then you respond to it. Now you're calm. Now you're in a better place and you go. But sometimes it happens where you're like, okay, you're good and you're like, okay, yes, nothing can get me down. Nothing. And you're good for a week and you're like, yes, I'm there. Then boom, next week.
Bam.
Or you're good for a month. And then boom, something. You're like, didn't I say I'm not gonna? Didn't I say
Nah,
I
but
was
it's a
not
process
gonna?
though.
You know? So that's when you talk about the process, you know, that comes to mind. But that's what I wanted to say before. So it's not gonna just happen like, okay, you may see progress where I'm good for a week and then something happened the next week. I'm good for a month, something happened. You don't get discouraged. Just keep on going, keep on fighting.
Yeah, because it is a process, and processes sometimes can take long.
Yeah.
And they're usually ongoing. And don't judge your progress to other people's progress.
No.
That is very important.
No.
Like, if you're making wins, you know, celebrate your wins. You know, it may not be where you want to get to, but just celebrate the fact that you're not where you were. All right. I think we're going to leave that here for now because we could go off on so many tangents on this. I like this topic of perception. And I think we're gonna touch on something similar. I already feel it. We're gonna have to come back to something about this, you know, in a future episode. But, you know, we're happy that, you know, you all came and hung out with us for another amazing week. Remember, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So make sure you speak life. If you haven't gotten the book, you know, go get the book.
When three worlds collide.
Go get the book. You won't be disappointed.
God
we
has
love
been
y'all.
good.
We
This is our
appreciate
second
y'all.
print.
Second print.
So, you know, God has been good. We appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who already got their book.
Yes.
You know,
Shout out to
thank
y'all.
you.
And
We
make sure you
appreciate
like and subscribe and comment to join the conversation. We look forward to hearing from you. Have an amazing week.
Have an amazing week. God bless you.